Hello and welcome to Happy Beard Games' GAMERpiece Theatre. In GAMERpiece Theatre, we take a look at a true video game classic and find out what made that game special. In today's masterpiece, we're looking back at the 1980s arcades as we take on Rampage. If you've ever dreamed or imagined yourself transforming into a giant mutated monster and destroying huge cities across the world, Rampage is the game for you. Rampage is a very fun, cooperative game where you play as a villain of sorts. In most games, you're a hero such as Mario taking on giants like Donkey Kong and Bowser. In this game, you pretty much play as what Donkey Kong or Bowser is, a giant ape and a giant lizard, and you take over cities, destroy things, fight the military, eat the civilians, and it's a lot of fun! You'll have lots of fun playing with up to 2 other players in this cooperative game where you destroy buildings as the main objective. You get points for eating, destroying, and causing all sorts of utter chaos and destruction upon these cities. The game Rampage has also been ported to the Nintendo NES among many other consoles. So today we're looking at 3 versions of the game. We're looking at Rampage for the NES. We're also looking at the arcade port on the Midway Arcade Treasures collection for the Gamecube. We're also going to be looking at one of the Rampage sequels, Rampage World Tour, released in 1997 for arcades. There's a port of it in the Midway Arcade Treasures 2 collection for the Gamecube. Rampage is a game that is, at its core, solely based on one thing: giant monster movies, such as King Kong and Godzilla. These giant kaiju monster movies are definitely the direct inspiration for Rampage, as at its core, the gameplay is just to destroy cities and eat people. You get points for destroying the cities and eating the people in the cities. You also fight the military, which comes in to defend the city and will shoot at you. You can fight back, but the main objective here is just to destroy the city and then move on to the next city and work on destroying that. The game continues on in that same similar pattern. Rampage on the NES has about 128 different levels, but they're all fairly similar and all retain the same arcadey gameplay. So if you know one level, you pretty much know what to do in the next. Rampage may be a cooperative game, but it also has a competitive edge to it in the high scores. A lot of this game involves collecting points, many of which you'll see on screen. You also have a high score bar at the top of the screen for each player. Collecting points is very important in Rampage as it determines who did the best on each level. If you want to be the best, get on the high score leaderboards and beat your friends. For causing destruction, mayhem, and chaos, the monsters of Rampage have a few tricks up their sleeves. The abilities and controls in Rampage are very simple to pull off and simple to remember and understand. One of them includes climbing buildings. You have to climb a building to break through windows, grab people inside or other items, and also to make your way to the top of the building to help destroy it. You have 2 basic controls in Rampage. You have jump and attack. Jump I would use very sparingly. It's not really a jumping game or a platforming game. You can jump and it'll help you get off buildings or jump over certain hazards, but at the same time, jumping makes you vulnerable. It also slows you down a bit jumping through the air, as you're a very heavy giant monster. Attacking is very simple too. With a 1-button press, you can punch, smash, and grab a bite to eat, as humans are the late night snack. Speaking of things to eat, eating is one of the main concepts of this game, and meat's back on the menu, boys, because we're eating humans on this game. Yes, the monsters, well, once human themselves, have now mutated into giants, and they can grab humans in one hand and throw them in their mouth to eat them. In the game Rampage, there are things that you want to eat and things that you don't want to eat. Things that you want to eat include humans, food, and other point pickups. Things that you don't want to eat are anything electrical, anything that looks like it might injure you. You have a health bar and lives in Rampage, so keep track of that as you're playing. In the arcade version, you can add more lives by inserting more credits. In the arcade collections, you can add credits at any time. It makes it really easy to play, and definitely worth the money. An interesting fact about Rampage is that it was created on older limited technology that did not allow for horizontal scrolling between levels. So the levels you'll see while you climb up buildings take advantage of vertical scrolling, and you never see the city transition left to right in a horizontal plane. In one of the Rampage sequels, Rampage World Tour, they addressed this issue of horizontal scrolling. You can now move left to right, and it makes the cities seem so much bigger. They also scroll horizontally, so you can loop around just by going across the screen. Also, the level areas are much bigger, and there's more buildings to look for. Different building sizes, different types of buildings, and lots of new features. Some of the new features in Rampage World Tour include a 3D art style, mini-games, and the ability to pick up a power-up item that allows you to transform into a bat, which gives you some extra strength. But aside from those new features, much of the original gameplay at its core remains intact in Rampage World Tour, which makes it a lot of fun. It's a little bit faster, a little bit more up-to-date with the 90s style of humor, but it still retains that arcade classic gameplay of Rampage. Looking back on Rampage today, it's easy to tell that this is a video game classic. It features innovative cooperative gameplay for its time, an appealing giant monster-themed style of gameplay that the gameplay's core is completely based around. Destroying cities, eating people, it's all a lot of fun and kind of scary sounding, but the game has a comedic approach, very light, and it makes it a lot of fun. It's a good game to play with your friends, at an arcade, and it's just a really fun, high score, building smashing, human munchin', fun, good time. Rampage is such a classic game series that they even released a live-action movie based on Rampage in the year 2018. Who would have thought that would have happened? And that's it for today's GAMERpiece Theatre. From these reasons and more, it's easy to tell that Rampage is a video game classic and deserves a spot in the GAMERpiece Theatre on Happy Beard Games. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for more GAMERpiece Theatre in the future.